Hey guys, what's up? Spectre here. Today I'll be discussing the latest factions that Paradox have revealed, some design details from the team, and PDXCON news. Let's jump in. It's been a little since I last reported on Bloodlines with my video about the Pioneers, so let's begin with a little recap before we move on to the absolute latest. The second faction revealed by Paradox is the Camarilla. This ancient faction won't be new to core fans of the series, but they will definitely be a welcome familiar addition. If you check out their official faction page, it reads, "Power players. Seattle has become one of the most lucrative tech and business cities in the world. In the shadows of that boom, a new kind of kindred has emerged in the city. Sleek, business-minded, ready to influence the city from the top floor boardrooms. Led by Prince Cross and ingrained in the corporate landscape of Seattle, the Camarilla has managed to turn its connections to tech billionaires and investment bankers into domination over the Emerald City." Prince Cross is aware of the resentment for the Camarilla, and has deftly given just enough power to some of the others in the city to keep them in line. His regime is meant to be one of stability, prosperity, and of course, upholding the Masquerade. High-ranking members of the Camarilla have constant access to blood. Within the ranks of the Camarilla, you can find CEOs, software moguls, politicians, and other members of the 1%. The next faction vying for control of Seattle, the Baron. According to their official entry on the site, it's hard to know just how many vampires swear allegiance to the Baron of Aurora. In parts, that's because very few of Seattle's kindred have actually met him. Acting through his lieutenants, he has taken the city's destitute, defiant, and desperate, turning them into a ruthlessly disciplined force with hands in every shady deal. The Baron runs Seattle's criminal underworld, and the enigmatic leader is rarely seen by others. He also doesn't discriminate against thin bloods, ghouls, or humans, hiring anyone willing to complete some less than savory jobs. I find this faction to be quite interesting, given the intrigue: does the Baron even exist? Or is it a collective entity made up by his lieutenants? It will definitely be fun to find out. There are two factions yet to be revealed. Some have speculated the Sabbat may make a return, or perhaps the Anarchs, but only time will tell. Paradox has been sharing dev diaries with fans over the recent months, each with a different focus. Rachel Leiker, the lead UI/UX designer, took to the blog this time to share some of the design choices behind the UI, as well as some information about accessibility. In the incredibly interesting post, we learn a bit about general design when it comes to UI. From general information about information placement on the screen, so that the most vital information is in a place that you would naturally look, to very specific choices tailored to an authentic Vampire the Masquerade experience. The modern noir aesthetic in Bloodlines 2 demands a bit of the old mixed in with the new. Designers work to strike a balance between a clean modern UI and something ancient and supernatural. They achieve this look with an aesthetic based on high contrast, dramatic uses of color, and a high texture density. But quality UI doesn't just stop there. It also takes into consideration the narrative and the in-game world itself. As a vampire, blood is our most precious resource, as it strengthens the player and sustains them. The UI reinforces this by only using red for information pertaining to blood gain, loss, and use, and of course your health. A sleek look and design choices that stay true to the game are not the only things that designers are juggling, as accessibility plays a large part in the process as well. According to Rachel Leiker, the game will never use color as the sole indicator for items or quest objectives. This is particularly helpful to players with color vision deficiencies, instead focusing on enhanced contrast, texture, iconography, and effects. There will be more accessibility features announced closer to the game's release, but it's great to know that this is a vital pillar of the game's overall design, as it makes the game better for everyone and really opens up the audience to more players. Although larger gaming events like E3, Gamescom, and the Tokyo Game Show have come and gone, there are still events like PDXCON coming up in Berlin, Germany. And while many diehard fans were looking to get hands-on time with the game, Paradox has announced that will no longer be possible. Fans will see new gameplay and receive a free code for the game, however. Brian Mitsoda and other team members will of course make an appearance, and will be meeting fans as well. For those who would rather skip the event entirely, in light of this unfortunate news, Paradox will be offering full refunds. The studio had this to say on the matter. The decision to remove the hands-on Bloodlines 2 demo was not one we took lightly. We know many fans were excited to join us at PDXCON for the chance to try the game, but the team has needed to focus their efforts on providing the best possible game experience at launch, and unfortunately the time to prepare a standalone demo for PDXCON wasn't possible. It's hard to say whether or not this news is troubling. On the one hand, they could have offered the same vertical slice that we saw at both E3 and Gamescom. Given the fact that the pre-alpha gameplay we saw earlier this year looked a bit shaky to say the least, although again, it is pre-alpha gameplay, it's still just a bit worrying. We'll have to wait to see if that exclusive gameplay is made public after the event and what changes come along with it. And that's about it for this Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 news update. For more on this RPG and others like Cyberpunk 2077, make sure to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.